She is an intuitive coach, a psychic, author, keynote speaker, and also a frequent guest on radio and television shows in the Twin Cities and across the country.
And she likes warm hugs. Jodi Livon is joining us today. She's going to do some readings on a few different people for us. First one's Kayleen Miller. Thanks so much to both of you for being here. I think we both just kind of get out of your way and let you do your thing, eh?
Okay.
Okay.
So say your first name.
Kayleen.
So you're a very perceptive person. You're so perceptive that when energy from the other side is around, you're really good at picking it up. There's like a grandmother energy with a little teacup that's kind of moving, so that's how they show me grandmother is around you. You can walk into a crowded house and still feel spirits, and you can especially walk into old homes and feel spirits. And it used to spook you out, and it's less so. I would say in the last 5 or 7 years, you've gotten less spooked out. Is that true for you?
Yeah, I look for it now.
But you're so sensitive that you pick things up and then you take them home. So you're very empathetic. Have you experienced that where somebody's in a sad mood? You might be in a sad mood afterward.
Definitely.
So the best thing to do for you is to realize before you're around anybody, just kind of take note of how you feel inside. And that way, when you feel differently, it might be somebody else's energy that you're picking up on. So your grandma says that you're a lot more confident than she was. Okay, so this is like a big thing for you in your life, is becoming more confident, more outspoken, because speaking what you really want and what really feels good to you, or representing other little people, is a big deal for you. And so you speaking up tactfully is difficult, but you've gotten much better at it.
Yeah.
And you speak on behalf of little people.
Yeah, I have a daycare.
Okay. Sometimes you feel like you're gonna like explode.
Oh yeah, all the time.
I always call it vomiting your emotions. I'm not nervous for you because I feel like you could pull it back and go, I was just holding that in and it came out like that and super sorry. But your grandma also wants to tell you that you don't have to worry about picking up on other people dying and things like that, because that doesn't come to you unless you ask for that. Okay? All right. I can keep going.
Yeah, just a little bit longer, please.
So, something about a bar fight. So I'm seeing like this, something that's gone on between you, seeing arguments, different arguments.
I used to be a bartender for a long time, actually.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. So that was like almost too much for you, because when people are on alcohol,
It annoys me.
and also there's a lot of people on the other side in bars. They love to be in bars because they like to kind of take over a little bit when people aren't quite in their own body because they're drunk. So, but you're very mediumistic. So that means not only are you psychic, because we're all psychic, you pick up on people from the other side. And so the lights turning on, off and on and things like
I have that happen to me all the time, actually.
Yeah. So all you have to do is say, yeah, not right now, thanks so much. And they'll tune it down. People on the other side will tune it down. And I also recommend praying a lot before you go to sleep, because it will protect you.
That's at nighttime is when I hear a lot of that stuff.
That's right. So if you just pray, it'll protect you. And picture a beautiful white light encircling you, and then it won't take you over so much, because you already know now that you're intuitive. You don't need it to be proven. Okay?
Yeah, definitely.
Is there anything you wanted to ask regarding...
Is it just my grandma, or is there anybody else?
Well, I know she might not have been aggressive when she was here, but she's going like this.
Oh, my grandma, yeah. She would definitely
So
be
she's like blocking the
protecting me.
door, because there's like, and she's protective, but she wants you to know she's here. She wants you to know she's watching you, okay? And that she's proud of you, and that she loves you. And you don't have to worry about failing. You're so worried about failing. Don't worry about failing. You're not failing. You love people. That's winning.
And was there anything about your daughter?
My little girl has dreams. My dad passed away when I was 16, and my little girl has dreams about him, and she said things like that she would have never have known without somebody else telling her.
I love that. Kids are famous for that, because they haven't learned that you're supposed to not say it. And they haven't learned that it doesn't exist, because that's what we're taught, but it does exist. She could probably tell you a lot, and as long as you encourage her by listening, and say, wow, that's really cool, that was true for my dad.
That's what I do, yeah.
That's so smart. She will continue to have that intuition, but if you ignore it or shame her or even get scared of it, they'll pull back. People pull back. So she's actually quite perceptive, but she's not as perceptive as you. You're very perceptive. You could use some help with your boundaries, kind of tuning it out a little bit more.
All right. Thank you, Kayleen. We appreciate you coming on the show. And Jodi also. Okay, we'll be right back with one more guest when we come back. We are back with psychic Jodi Livon. Our next guest is Jessica, and I'll just let you two take it away.
Okay, say your name.
Jessica Nelson.
So On the exterior, you do get nervous, but inside, man, you know exactly what you want to do. And inside, you're like fighting with yourself. I want to go do this. I want to go be this. I want to go say this. But there's a part of you that really holds back unless it's with your very close friends, people in your family. Isn't that true? At least most people in your family.
Yes.
And there's a part of you that's afraid of men. You know, like men that you have never met. There's a part of you that kind of holds back and pulls back. And I don't always pick up things about past lives, but I will say that you were hurt in a past life by like a monkeyish looking man, like kind of a gorilla-y looking guy. And so sometimes when you have those responses, it can just be old as well. The best thing that you can do, which I feel like you're doing it now, is plowing forward when you're afraid. Being here is huge. Just being here. So you have to say yes to things that you want to say yes to instead of no, because your go-to word is no. And I feel like there's something about your mom, no offense to your mom, but there's a respect that you learned some of this from her. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it does.
So your mom did what worked for her and she did her very best. You have to do what your very best is. And I don't think you've broken free quite yet of that hold that lives inside of you to do that. Do you get that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so I don't feel like you hear spirits or things like that, but I think you're obviously you're interested in it. I do feel like there's a classroom around you. So there was something related in your life, and you have to go very far back, where there was somebody very young that died, and it feels like you might have been younger in elementary school, where something happened with somebody and you started to think about it in the back of your mind. Where do people go? Where do people go? Where do people go? Which is very common for kids, but it stuck with you.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest thing for you right now is to literally feel like it's okay to push through when somebody's telling you something you don't want to do, to just do it anyway. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it does.
So I don't know that it's your dad, but there's a person on the other side that seems young-ish and very paternal-like that is supporting you. And is your dad on the other side?
No, my grandpa.
So it could be your grandfather. Did he chew something? I feel like there's something in his mouth, like he's either chewing or he had something kind of hanging out of his mouth, like some people do with grass or something like that. Grass, not the smoking grass.
Right.
But grass.
Dandelions.
Dandelions, that makes sense. So he's here to say hello to you.
Okay.
And that he said it's very sunny where he is.
Okay.
And it's very quiet where he is. He must have had maybe something with noise. Oh, you have something with noise. Loud noises? Big loud noises? He's telling me about you and big loud noises.
Firecrackers.
Really bug you.
Fireworks. Yeah.
Yeah, he says really disturb you. Yeah. He also says that you are waking up, that right now there's a part of you that's kind of asleep, but you're waking up to who you are. Have you yet reached 30?
I am, yes.
So you will, in the next 5 years, you'll be seeing more of yourself in that. Your dad also wants to tell you that you've got a really good sense of humor.
Okay.
Did you know that about yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're very funny,
Okay.
but you don't let it out.
Okay.
Because even now you want to giggle, and it's hard to. Well, there's a few cameras on you, so it makes it a little bit more difficult.
Right.
But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what people think. What other people think is none of your business.
Mm-hmm.
What people think about you is none of your business. Your dad says that you used to get frustrated and used to hit your pillow. Like you would show your frustration in front of him, your grandfather. Your grandfather is saying that you used to hit your pillow, you used to do things. So this is your grandfather, not your father. I want to make that clear. Father vibrations come across the same, whether it's a grandfather or a father or an uncle that was like a father. It comes across the same. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So when you feel your grandpa's energy, he's around to say, I'm supporting you. And you should just go with what you're doing. Do you have any questions?
I do. Sometimes I feel like my grandma, who passed away a couple years ago, is in my presence. Like she's sitting on the edge of the bed.
Oh.
Like I feel like she's there.
And you're okay with this?
Yeah.
So just talk to her and say, Grandma, I think this is you. Can you come back and do this tomorrow so I can make sure? Or can you come to me in a dream? Do you get a feeling up and down your arms when this happens?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is true. So that's what your intuition works that way. You need physical, so your intuition starts to light your arms up, like the hairs on your arms. So that's what happens for you. It's definitely her.
Okay.
She also has a shyness to her, not quite like you, but she also has a shyness to her, if that makes sense. And she's private, and you're very private.
Yeah.
Right.
She was a very private
Yeah.
woman.
Yeah.
Yep. And then my career, future, I'm wondering if there's anything about that you see.
This is the area that you need to really plow through and start to move it, because if you want what you're picturing in your head, you have to start speaking up. Picture yourself with a big red balloon, popping it.
Okay.
And start saying, yeah, I want that. Even if it's just a hunch, you should follow it, because I do see the possibility, but it's not a probability unless you start speaking up. But if you do, yes, you can make some career changes, like total changes.
Okay.
Yeah?
All right.
Thank you, Jessica. We appreciate you being on the show. You're very brave to have a reading on live TV. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Our psychic's is sticking around. Jodi Livon. We've got one more guest we're going to introduce you to, Suzette. Again, well, you guys just take it away. Thanks for being here.
Just say your first name?
Suzette.
Well, you've got bouncing energy, and you bring people joy. You know what's the magic wand that you go like this and the sparkles come off? That's you. And you've become more of that the older that you've gotten, because you were the one that was sitting in the corner really shy, and then you started to go, no, I want to be the one that's going like this and making people feel good, and that's what you like to do, is make people feel good. Right, you're very into that up energy, and then you used to get really low when you were around, and I feel like there was depression around you growing up, right? So, and I feel like you've created a world for yourself where even if someone's down, you can bring yourself back up by your little wand.
Yes.
Right. There's a lot of people on the other side trying to talk, right? And they kind of talk at once. Have you ever heard this? Like they literally like talking all at once. So it's like your own little audience. Oh, that's so interesting. Whereas all these guests are just wonderful, and our last guest was a little more shy. This one loves to be on camera, but not because it's not the attention so much about everybody seeing you, but the confidence piece and being around the good energy and being around your good energy that's drawing you, right?
Yep.
So, okay, so this is what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that you got a lot of mixed messages when you were growing up, okay?
Okay.
And the woman that's telling me feels like it could be a grandmother or a great aunt, okay? And she's very meticulous about what she says, and she's moving like this, so there was something that went on with her body that got really stiff as she got, as she aged. Do you know who this is? Is this your paternal grandmother?
It would be my grandmother.
So what she's saying is you've blown it in a good way. Like you completely changed things for yourself that way. Also, you can get off track really easily as a child, and you've brought yourself back. But your grandma wants you to know, it feels like there's something in your kitchen that just broke, and you were questioning what that was. Like, was this somebody from the other side? And it feels like a clay pot. So maybe it's going to happen.
I can't think that.
Maybe it's going to happen. So don't worry. It doesn't mean that it's somebody on the other side is trying to mess things up for you. So one of your goals in your life is to, like I said, create happiness for other people. You're doing it.
Okay.
You are doing it. And there's another way that you can do it through art. Do you ever work with people with art and help them kind of get, so where's the nursing home not far from you? Like a place where elderly either visit?
I used to work in one.
Okay, so you're really good at this. If you volunteered to be in there and just help them with art projects, that would help a lot. That's like your calling, is to help people of different ages that are afraid.
Okay.
Does that make sense to you?
It does.
Do you have a question?
My mom passed when I was 15, and we argued a lot, but I loved her, and I don't know if she knew that.
Feels like her heart exploded somehow.
She had cancer all over.
I'm feeling like this burning right through here.
That'd be my grandmother.
Oh, so she's still talking to me.
My grandmother died from a heart.
Your mom wasn't really great about telling what she felt, was she? She wasn't great about saying how she really felt about things. So this is what I'm seeing through my eye, is I'm seeing your grandmother right here, and I'm seeing your mom standing behind her. They're not touching. They're standing away from each other. So that may say something about the relationship, which doesn't mean it's bad. But what I'm hearing from your mom, because I do feel your mom, is that she was not a person that spoke up. She just wasn't a person that spoke up. She would say things loud if she thought it needed to be said, but it was rarely from anything other than fear.
Yep.
And so this is what helped bring on part of it. It kind of exasperated her illness because she was so afraid. It doesn't mean it caused it. She says, again, you're doing something very different with it. She's also talking about somebody in your life that had breast cancer. And she's saying that they're okay. And I'm not feeling like that's anything for you to worry about at this moment in your life at all. She's talking about somebody bouncing a basketball. There's like noise. Did you have a little brother who lived nearby that there was a ball bouncing all the time? She said it really bugged her. She didn't like noise.
It'd be a neighbor.
Okay, so she's talking about that. She said she was irritated a lot. But she had a good sense of humor in her own way, not as good as yours, and that she was, she just was more in a box. And even talking about her, I can feel that you kind of mellow yourself out, because when you knew her, you were quieter.
Yep.
So now we talk about something else and your whole vibe starts to open up. Your mom is fine. She actually sends you flowers from the other side. She loves you. Actually, she's sending you little red hearts, so she must have loved Valentine's Day. Do you have another
She did.
question? She did like Valentine's Day?
Yeah,
That's
she
why
did.
I originally felt
love
a flower and then
Valentine's Day.
she drew a heart.
Yep.
So she's actually standing right behind you.
Good.
Yeah, and she loves you.
I
So
love her
good,
too.
you're good with little people, but you're really good with older people and helping them loosen up their own creativity.
Okay.
And your intuition comes to you in your dreams. So when you get an intuitive hit, it's oftentimes that's how you get it. But you do feel nudged intuitively sometimes as well. Do you ever feel like you're supposed to do something and
Yeah.
you feel like you're being nudged?
I do.
So that's actually your grandma moving you, like saying you
Okay.
should do this, you should do this. And it's just an intuitive hunch.
Okay. Thank you.
Do you have another question?
Great stuff this morning. I wish we had a little bit more time. If people want to reach you, they should go to theintuitivecoach.com.
Exactly.
Okay, perfect. Because
Or
no doubt you'll
Facebook.
be on or Facebook. Okay. All right. Thank you, Suzette, too, for sharing your time today.